Now let's go ahead and add the bottom part. Let's look back over here at this bottom piece onto our pivot box, and it doesn't seem too difficult. And so right here on this flat surface, I'm going to start a new sketch. Okay? And I'm going to grab the rectangle. Okay? And what I'm going to do is just make a really, not going to set any dimensions yet. I'm just going to make a sort of skinny rectangle. And notice the green outline of our new sketch. I'm going to make a rectangle that's skinny enough where it's inside of those green lines. Okay, just like that. See, that's in between. All right. So now I'm going to um, go back in dimension. Let me make sure I'm doing this. All right. Yep. Okay. So I'm going to dimension this part here. This is going to be 6. Okay. Then I'm going to dimension the side at 70. All right. Straighten this out. And the reason why I did this to where it's not lined up because when you draw it, when you draw a sketch, excuse me, when you're drawing a shape and you lock it onto these existing lines, it makes problems for you trying to dimension later on. But now we can go ahead and use a horizontal. Well, actually, let's do a coincident constraint. I want the middle of this line to be connected with the middle part of this line. Okay, so that actually solve both problems. It centered it and then both vertically and horizontally at the same time. So let's say this a step. All right. Now we go ahead and finish this sketch, and then we're going to extrude. You gotta be careful because this actually is like this section, and you want to make sure you click this middle section. And we want to extrude this to 20 millimeters. Okay. Okay, so let's save this real quick. All right, look back over here. Okay, so it's almost looking like what we want. And so notice that this roundness here, so you've guessed it, that's a fillet feature. So we go here and leave our fillet, the roundness, the radius of our fillet is going to be 8. So we're on this edge, this edge, this edge, and that edge. Okay. And then finally, let's see what else. Oh, these 2 holes here. So here I'm going to start a new sketch, and I'm going to use points. And I'm just going to just place these 2 points like somewhere in here. Then go back and dimension them to where I want them. So click the point and this edge, and make sure that you're clicking on this straight edge here. And that gap has got to be 10. Okay. And then make sure that the point from the top, that is also 10. And then we'll go from point to point. Okay. That distance is 50. Okay. So now we don't have to worry about this distance over here because remember, from this end to this end is 70. We've already taken up, what, 10 plus 50, 60. So automatically what's left over has to be 10. And just to make sure, get out of this feature, we want to make sure that these points are leveled with each other. So since I've already dimensioned this one, I'll use the horizontal constraint to make sure that this one is same level, which it is. Okay. If you don't feel comfortable with using horizontal constraint, you can always use the dimension tool and go from this top down to the center. So now let's finish the sketch and use the hole feature. And so it's already chosen both these holes, and we want this radius of this hole to be 8 millimeters. All right, and let's look back to make sure we didn't miss anything. And that is it for the pivot box. Save your work.